I was going to do a little hangout tonight. We used to do Tuesday night tips here, and the idea of Tuesday night tips were that it was basically bringing the Anyfin community online, accessible to anyone with questions on fishing, whether they were new to fishing, new to a certain species or type of fishing, buying gifts for Christmas, anything. It was just a nice group of folks hanging out to answer questions. Life's busy right now. I'm full time on YouTube, which makes it sound like I got all the time in the world. It's just the opposite. Super busy, just trying to barely hanging on the payments and things like that. So this year, I'm going to be doing them a lot less structured. I'm not coming in with written plans. It's going to be a hangout, and I just want to be here for anyone to answer questions. And I have a good area set up where I can hopefully answer and demonstrate answers to any questions. What's going on, Will? How you doing? What are you up to tonight? We did go out fishing today. You, I think, already have access, Will, to some of the bass fishing that we did today. Wendy Jane, what's going on? Hope you're feeling better. Good evening, good evening. There's Ted. Oh, God. Hunting in the morning, Ted. You should be hunting. Well, I guess it's dark now out in Ohio, but here comes the question. I can't wait. Fire when ready, bro. But yeah, I got some things to do tonight, and I'm going to do that. But before I do that, I figured we just hang out. Where are all the deer at? You know what, Ted? I didn't see a deer driving around today. I thought that was so weird. I've been seeing them all week, and I didn't see anything today. I didn't hunt today, but I didn't see anything. And I said, that's about right, because I'm going out to the deer blind in the morning. Not too bad. Doing all right, Wendy. Doing pretty good, actually. Just got done making some deer chili and homemade cornbread. So we had a good dinner. I'm stuffed. Stuart, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? So yeah, if you guys just popped in, this is going to be the new format for Tuesday night tips. Forget Tuesdays. It's going to be when we have time in the evening. We're going to pop up, hang out, and had a couple people come into Brad's live that were complete newbies to fishing. Some of them have kids in the fishing, and the parents aren't in the fishing. That's the perfect person that I want to come in here. Now, if you're a more experienced angler, awesome. Come in, hang out, and you can help me answer questions maybe. Western Night Bunch this morning passed on a few bucks, just not big enough. Yeah, I've been passing on a couple sixes in the area, and I hope I get another crack at them, because now Lyle's into squirrel hunting, and we're going to do squirrels and pheasant a lot this week. So my buck days may be numbered here. I'm not sure. Will just got back from North Jersey. So, oh, you were at the South Branch, Raritan. I thought you were going to do, what's it, Round Valley? Was it probably too windy? I forgot to bring a drink. I should have brought a drink down. Who's live? If anyone's live, let me know. I've got the whiteboard back here. I'll write them on the whiteboard so that I can kind of remind people who's live. Yeah, it was windy. I figured it might be too windy on the lake. We were ducking in on some of the creeks today for that same reason, avoiding the big lakes today. Jay Fishing, what's going on? Good to see you. Boxcar Jerry, what's happening? Not me. What does that mean? I did see you pop up. I missed you. I think I was in Brad's maybe. I saw that you had them. I didn't see the notifications. I don't get notifications if I'm already in a live. I think I shut it all down because it was interrupting my lives. John and Lindy were live a little bit ago. They were smashing. Oh, yeah, the crappies just started down there in Florida, I guess. We're going down in February, but we're going to be up north of those guys. And then we're going to take the cruise around with the guided trip south of those guys. Oh, you're not live. Yeah, you usually go live around dinner time. Why aren't you live, Boxcar? Yeah, so basically I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. In fact, I'd like to, I'm going to usually go on the laptop, I think, because I'm setting everything up here. we're painting the emblem up on the wall, but we're gonna have like a bulletin board showing who's live, and then we're just gonna hang out and chat, and I'll help direct people to lives, and answer questions that newbies might have, or maybe you got a question on how to make pack bait. In fact, tonight I have to make pack bait for tomorrow, so I'm holding off in case somebody wants to see that. I got a sabiki rig from last weekend on one of my rods in case somebody wanted to see that. Um, I'm just going to rig up for a long casting trout. This is a situation where we're casting way out on a lake. Mr. Tolley, good evening. We got to cast way out there, but still have a delicate 4-pound line presentation. So I can show you that because I got to rig that up tonight. Also, I've got a lure tied up that we caught 8 bass with today. Can show you that one. Little homemade rig on the fly. Kevin actually found it and then kind of chiseled it down and slayed bass today. He caught 8 and I think I caught 4. Betty, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And I love that everyone's hanging out in here and all my regulars are in. But we're going to do this pretty regularly. Not every night, but probably 3 times or so a week. And I'll start putting it out on like Fishbrain and some of the social apps because I do want to attract the newbies in. I want to have a place where they can ask any type of questions and know that, they're not going to get laughed at or anything. They're going to have a good answer at a good group of people. And part of that will be to send them to other channels too. Not like I'm going to hoard them all here. If they're asking about Florida fishing, I'm going to send them to, Fish Head Videos or to John and Lindia. If they're talking about Pittsburgh, I'm going to send them out to Ted, things like that. I'm not going to hoard everybody and act like I know what I'm talking about with all species because I don't. But I know a lot about a lot of things, a lot about a lot of species. How would you fish a trout magnet in moderately heavy current? I'm struggling to do. So 2 ways I would do that. Like one is you can, obviously a split shot, right? I like to, hang on, I'm gonna write these questions down so that I can address them fully too. 7:30, trout magnet, heavy current. So, the idea of a trout magnet, Will. So it's basically just a jig, right? So first I would take off, I would get rid of the trout magnet. I'd look for a bigger jig head. If you're still going to use the little rubber that comes with it, maybe consider going out and buy, trying to think, there's some other metals that are heavier than steel. I've got a few from, what's his face? Double hook angling. But there's other metals you can use. That would be that would be the ideal situation, right? Tungsten. Tungsten, for example, is heavier than lead. Same size, you can get heavier to drop faster. It'll still have the same action. Me, I'm never prepared, right? I fly on the seat of my pants. Hey, Daniel, welcome. So what I would do is I'd reach into my pocket and find a split shot. I will usually put the split shot 12 inches to 18 inches up. Sometimes, and Kevin prefers to put that ugly split shot right on the jig head, like right down to the line. And sometimes that has a better, well, always, it has a better action. It has a different action. Sometimes one works better than the other. So it's just as simple as putting a split shot in. Today, in fact, I fished a trout magnet in the wind with a trout magnet under a bobber with a heavy split shot to keep it down. The other thing to keep in mind when you're fishing in windy conditions, Will, is say you have a leader, say you're 12 inches, right? The wind and the current might be pushing it up that way. So it might not be hanging down. So you don't have the 12 you think you got. You're really riding 4 inches under. So for that reason, you want to lengthen your, the distance between your jig and the split shot. That's what I would do. Like fishing, welcome, welcome, welcome. Did that answer your question, Will? Number 1, go to a different size jig head or even tungsten ideally that can still do a small presentation. But if not, throw a split shot. They still work pretty good. Hey, Brandon, welcome, welcome. I'm 10 minutes in and I'm thirsty already. That was a big mistake. I had chili and cornbread I might have to run upstairs at some point. Cool. Trying to think if I do any other presentations. Like, I'm big on altering things on the go. Let me show you what Kevin was using to catch his fish today. The members can already see the short that's out there. It's actually one of the first, it's the first 3-minute short we successfully shot. YouTube's changed where you can actually put these 3-minute shorts. So we put one out. So Kev's rigged 4-pound mono on his, little tiny Sienna reel, 500 or it's 1,000 on a South Bend, slow rod here, ultralight. So he's got his trout magnet jig, but look what he put on this thing. He found this paddle tail. This thing is less than 2 inches, but he ripped it off. It was probably another 2 inches long. He just ripped the tail off. That's what caught every bass today, right there. Every single bass. He was slaying the bass on this thing. The paddle tail helped keep it underwater too, even with the wind. Where I was throwing a regular, you know what I do, trout magnet worm all the time. So I had the trout magnet worms on. But the wind was too much. It was basically water skiing across the lake. So I went to a trout magnet and to allow it to sink a little bit better. But that little tiny paddle tail was killing it today. So again, I'm big into like just creative thinking, because when you're doing multi-species and you're out fishing, you don't know what you're going to get into. You don't know what's going to bite. You don't know what you're going to all of a sudden see swimming around. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I never have what I need. So I'm always trying to make something out of what I got with me. So if you understand the actual, physics of what's going on, you don't need all the gear. It's nice to have it, but you definitely don't need it. So tomorrow is Member Monday for the channel. I know Brad's going to be fishing with us. Boys are off for Thanksgiving break, so we got Kev's going to be out with me. So I think I'm going to throw maybe 1 or 2 carp rods in, and then like 3 or 4 trout rods is going to be the idea for us. Unfortunately, we can't hunt live on YouTube. I'm going to be hunting in the morning, so when the live starts, I might be in my house still, because Lyle and I are going to be on squirrel and deer hunting in the morning. And then I'm gonna come up here, get the live started, so if Brad or anyone else is fishing with us, he can pop up. Hey Myra, welcome in. I think Myra's popping in tomorrow too. She's got some stuff to show off, fishing stuff, fishing decoration stuff. So yeah, let's see. All right, so this is the rod that I'm going to set up. One of the things I got to do tonight is I got to set this up so that I can cast, instead of 15 yards, I need to cast 30 to 45 yards. And I'm going to rig this up so that I could catch trout or carp, since this is probably 8 to 10 pound line. Hey Hart, welcome. Thanks for coming in here. We are talking fishing. So if you got any fishing type questions, let us try to help you with that. So I'm going to take you guys out with me here. Let me put you in the tripod for a second. So yeah, you guys that haven't seen the office inside, I got a bunch of stuff out here now that'll help us, it'll help us with topics and answer some of the questions you might all have. But let me get you in this tripod. And I've got an aquarium now, so I can show you how some of these, like the power bait and things like that, if anyone's got questions, I can actually do underwater demonstrations. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Hart. Yep, that's what we do. All fishing on here. Bear with me 1 second. I gotta get you guys in the tripod. If you like bouncy lives, bad quality, sometimes skunk fishless days, you came to the right place. But we fish hard, we fish a lot, and we have fun doing it. And once in a while, we catch 53-inch stripers. You might want to watch the next video that comes out. It's a doozy. Thanksgiving Day, we got a new video coming out, and it is going to be epic. Bear with me, guys. Let me get you all back into this holder here. We have so many fishes here. We sell goldfish koi. Where are you from, Hart? Sound familiar. I feel like I knew you a while ago. Sorry. Enjoy a close-up view of my face. I'm never prepared. I prepare a lot, but I'm still never prepared. Templin, welcome, welcome. What? I don't know. I'm guessing that was you singing in that live, but apparently Templin's got some lungs on her. I had no idea. It was an amazing song. I might as well take you over here. Okay, that's where I know you from then, just popping in, I guess. You're from the Philippines. Welcome. Yeah, I know you've got a big diversity of fish down there for sure. Yeah, that was awesome, Templin. Bear with me. Okay. Yeah, it's just a chill live. We're here to answer any questions you guys have. Meanwhile, I'm going to be setting up for today. I'm trying to clean up from the summer of fishing. So these are just some of the rods I have to clean and organize for the winter. I've got rods all over the place. As you can see here, I can't show you too much over there because that's all of our boom, boom, booms that they don't like to talk about on YouTube. So the bobbers on the string right there. Yeah, they're not jewelry. They're actually really lures. Yeah, Tamplin, you definitely should. It's like my wife. She's an amazing artist, but she never shows anybody her work. Yeah, glad he's pushing you to do that. Sometimes you need a little push. Yeah, thank you. This is our basement. I am not very good at carpentry, but I did my best down here. Skeeter, this is going to be Skeeter's room, by the way, if he ever comes down and hangs out here. What's going on, Skeeter? Oh, you know what? I do have those pop-ups, Skeeter, if you wanted to see those. It's like ADHD. This is probably not a good idea. Skeeter and I were talking about ice fishing. Everything's dusty. I got to clean up everything. But let me see if I can figure these things out. It's been a couple years since we had good ice. I think I ice fished 4 hours last year. Okay. The reel has to go that way. Okay. So you got to tighten. They have little wing nuts, right? I'll show you the idea of this though. So this is, I don't know if you've ever seen those, Skeeter, but they go like this. And the hole will be right here and it'll sit there and the reel will actually be under the water and the line goes straight down. And see how that's spinning? You take this flag. It's not easy to deal with on the spot. But definitely want to practice doing all this crap in your basement before it's 10 degrees outside and you got wet hands, okay? All right. Where am I going with this? This wasn't the ice fishing live, Skeeter. Well, I gotta fix it, but I'll do a live just for you, Skeeter. But basically, the flag bends down, right, and it connects. It just barely hooks onto this handle, so that when the line pulls, it kicks the flag, and the flag shoots up. So my point is, you can look at the rules, but I think you're allowed 5 tip-ups to each angler in our state. Hi, Hart. Have a good night. Thanks for coming in. You're allowed, so it's kind of like catfishing in that way that you're watching flags. So you can set the camera up. You're jigging on one, right? And then in the background, you have fanned out four, I think 4 other holes with the flags, right? That way you can see a flag go or something like that. But they have sensors and things like that. You'll need the net to scoop the ice out of the hole, or once you drill the hole, you'll need an auger, and then you'll need something to keep that hole clear. So a net like that. Let's see what else I got. That's really all I have right here. I'd have to go to the other basement to show you like the auger. I'm actually going to be bringing the sled. I have a big sled built for ice fishing. I'm going to be bringing that here because this sofa's got to go upstairs. Apache Adventures. Where does a fish keep its money? Oh, here we go. I don't know. Oh, Stuart got it. Under the bank. Dang. I'm going to come over here. And I have to find an egg sinker in this mess. So let me see if I can find it. So over here, I got my freak show here. I got the hand line. This is literally my freak show. ATC Brad was talking about one of these, and I was telling him I've caught multiple carp on it. I have one. And this ridiculous thing that All Things Country made me go out and do a video on. I hate that thing. But yeah, let me look in here, see if I can find the lead weights I'm looking for. I like these little lunch meat comes in these in our store, especially for like the special diets that we have in our house. So I use these and I label them all with my gear. I probably don't have any in here. They're probably all in my car because my car is basically a fishing tackle box at this point. But if you guys have any questions while I'm digging in here, just let me know. You have no idea. Oh, I just saw one. I had it in my hands and I dropped it. There it is. So that's the sinker I'm looking for, the egg style sinker. I'll show you how to rig this up in just a second. Oh, nice. Enjoy your dinner. Glad to see you guys are well enough to get out. Awesome, awesome. So I've got the sinker. What I need now is a swivel. That's a little too big for trout. I don't need that, but I'll keep it handy in case I need to. I had a whole box of swivels somewhere. Here's my box of swivels. Let's see the style I want though. Kind of pretty picky when it comes to this setup. I need a bolt cutter and break this off, I think. Can't find the swivel. Come on. All right. We'll make it work. That's fine. That will be totally fine, actually, because the weight is a little bit lighter than I wanted to go with anyway, so. Okay. So I'm going to go with the tiny little hook because we're just basically catching trout. We might catch a carp on something like that, But we're really trying to target a trout with this setup. Hey, Rod, welcome, welcome. Myra's got a question. Is there a difference between a sinker and a weight? Not to me, there isn't. I would use them interchangeably. Somebody might tell me with an Orvis hat the difference, but yeah, I mean, there's different types of sinkers and split shot. So these right here are little split shots. They're nice because you can add them on the fly. I call this an egg sinker. That's something you're going to rig on. The line's going to slide through it. You can't take it on and off very easily. It's kind of on there for the duration. So you might guess, you might have to go light on this. And then if you needed more weight, you could always throw some more split shot on. But I'll tell you in a minute why I like the egg sinker. So you just pinch them, they pop right off. There's like a little... I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little like wing on the back, so you can bite that and it opens up. All right, I'll take the other one off. But the reason I like this is the fish, well, let me demonstrate it. So this one, the weight's going to hit the bottom, right? The hook is going to float up if you're using a floating bait, which is the presentation I'm going to be doing. So they're going to pull this and they're going to feel that. Sometimes when fish are real picky, which they've been at this lake, they're going to feel that and they're going to spit it immediately. Now, with this one, the line's going to go through. So they're going to hit the bait again, and this time it's going to pull. And what's going to happen is you're going to be watching your line, not your rod, because by the time your rod goes, it could be too late. But you watch your line go, and that's the fish pulling the line. Now, he doesn't feel anything yet. Then you set the hook, and the heavy weight allows you to get way out there, and the fish never feels the weight if you're watching your line. So hopefully that answered it. What comes first, the egg or the fish? I studied some philosophy, so I'm gonna I'm trying not to go where I want to go right now on YouTube. But I have an answer. I won't go there though. Let me let some more line out of here. The cat wants to come in. If I let him in, it's going to be a pain in the butt though. I'll let him in. Tiger. What do you want, Tags? He comes in. It's going to be a pain in the butt. One Life Man, welcome in, welcome in. There goes my crazy cat. He likes to go in there. I think there's mice in there. What's your dream fish to catch? I don't have any dream fish. I've caught all the fish I want to catch. But I know arapaima is a fish that my son wants to desperately catch. So I would say an arapaima. I like to go after arapaimas. Let me get a knife before I rip my teeth out. I'm too old for that. Just a nice little pocket knife will do. So I'm in butcher mode. Sorry, the only knives I have handy are butcher knives at the moment. So this is the egg, the hardest fish to catch. I have One Life, I have a joke. Now, I'm guessing, I don't think you live in the United States, but we have a fish called sunfish, bluegill. First fish every kid catches is a bluegill. They're the easiest fish to catch. That's what I always say, until they're not. I don't know why. You catch them nonstop, but they're also great bait. And so say you're going to try to go catch a large predatory fish like a flathead catfish, 50, 60 pounds. You go out there to catch these sunfish that are everywhere, and suddenly you can't catch one. I don't know why it is, but it just seems to be the way it goes. Come on, Rod, you got to dream bigger than that. A peacock. That's just down in Florida, man. You got to dream bigger. Arapaima. Now, peacock's on our list too. We would like to catch a peacock. Uh, I already caught him. Dude, I'll never catch a bigger muskie in my life, Stuart. And I did it for free. So I'm good. Rude, welcome in, welcome in. I believe in mermaid because only has been explored in the ocean. Yeah, I would not doubt that. It's fun to think about. But yeah, every time they go down on those trench dives, they literally find new species. So yeah, you don't know what's down there. I doubt it's a mermaid that we're thinking of, but I know what you mean. I'm going to look through my dresser for my vintage fish knife. I have some questions about it. All right, cool. Tarpon too. Yeah, tarpon's on my list. We do have an aku, whitefish, sheefish, all kinds of names for it up in Alaska. And we've caught them as big as the tarpon, and they call them tarpon to the north. So they're not at the top because I already feel like I'm going to catch one of them and be like, oh yeah, they're like white. They're like the whitefish in our river. Stewart's dream is to catch every fish on the fly. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm doing an improved clinch knot. That's what I always tie. And I know somebody's going to say, a better hook up. And yeah, this is the one I tie. Because when your eyes get old, learn a knot that you can do blindfolded. Because when you get old, you're not going to be able to see. So you can just be able to feel it and know you got it. Let's put the leader on the other side, I think. Yeah, I'm going to double that on. I don't like using a heavy swivel like that, so I'm going to double that. Oh, it's hot in here. Let me turn the thermostat down, guys. It's like in between. I got my heavy flannel on. Okay, got my weight on. Good. Make sure my chat's not freezing. Got 20 thumbs up in here. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Like I said, this is really for people to ask questions. So if anybody's watching, they got a question, ask away. Otherwise, I'm just going to be getting my gear ready for tomorrow or talking about today. We fish every day, so I always got fish tails if you want tails. Tomorrow we're fishing for trout and carp at the same time. So I got to make my carp bait mix if anybody wants to see how to make pack bait. I'm going to do that. I can do that next if you want. But yeah, we're going to throw out one or two rods. I'm going to have Kev with me so I can put 6 rods out. I'm going to throw 1 or 2 rods out straight up carp, method feeders, hair rigs, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to have 1 or 2 rods straight up trout, sinker, sliding sinker, power bait rig. And then the third is going to be like a hybrid that I could catch a trout or a carp with corn. That's going to be the approach. Maniac cat. I don't know if you see him running back there. Tags. Yes, please. Yeah, night crawlers are awesome. I'm just maxed out. I can't take out a second mortgage to buy night crawlers right now. Like $8 at the shop. Crazy. Okay, so we got the line coming from the fishing rod. We have a swivel to stop. And you should put a bead there to protect the knot. Don't be dumb like me. But you know what? Beads are for accountants. I'm not doing it. Heck with the bead. They say it wears down the knot, but I never have anything rigged long enough. Like I'll come home and we'll re-rig everything anyway. When I'm retired, I'm planning to go to the wilderness with Lake and just camp and fish. I want to do it solo, but need more survival knowledge. Awesome stuff, One Life. I luckily have the survival knowledge. That's something I'm very strong in my background. And when I lived in Alaska and guided up there, and I raced a big race called the Iditarod in the middle of winter, 40 below 0 Fahrenheit. And so I learned all those skills. So yeah, I'm very comfortable in those conditions, but my suggestion would be treat them as 2 different things. work on your fishing and learn on your survival, but don't go on a fishing trip to practice your survival. Get in way over your head, close to home, where you have a bailout plan. Learn all those things. Test all the equipment out where you have a safety net, and then slowly remove those safety nets to where if something goes wrong, you got a real problem, because your mental aspect changes too when you really, when you're not in your backyard, you can lose it mentally, and that could be your undoing. Heading to Walmart tomorrow and getting some for tomorrow live. All right, nice. Yeah, sure thing. Let me see if this is enough to float this hook. I'm going to go back into our office here and we'll try this. I'm going to lose this thing here. Let me try to take you guys in. I need to bring this back. It's going to be a whole process, isn't it? It's going to be a whole process. They make it look so easy in the movies, So easy. Hey, Marilyn, what's going on, buddy? I put a bead there to protect my eye from the... I know. I knew one of you guys would come in here and tell me that. I know. Protect the... Nah, let's protect everything. I throw gear out so fast, man. I snag things, break things off. If I was going to go for a trip of a lifetime, I would. That's why I said it. But I'm not doing it because I'm going for trout at my neighborhood pond. If that makes sense. All right, let's see if that's enough. Let's drop that in without breaking the glass. All right, so there you go. You see how buoyant the power bait is? And you see the egg sinker there? That's what you want. You want it just floating around like that. The trout is not going to, be able to not bite that. Eventually, he's going to bite that. Okay? Now, depending on the current, if you're in a lake, you could go shorter between the weight and the actual power bait. But again, we're going to have current. So with current, that hook is going to be pushed down closer to the bottom. That's why I go as long as I do. So, yeah. Yeah, I got it for free, Templin. I don't know what it is with me, but I travel and I see free fish tanks. So it's a curse at this point in my life. We have a 65, a 40. This is like a 30, I think. They just keep coming, and we keep filling up. But this one I'm leaving to play with stuff like this. So I'm happy with this setup. I'm done with this setup. This setup's going to be one of my 3 rods tomorrow. There was my cat jumping in the background. That was funny. Guys, come here, buddy. What's up? You picking on you? Actually, let me leave this out so I don't forget it tomorrow. All right, I think Stuart wanted to see the pack bait. Jimmy, what's cracking, buddy? What's going on? Let's see. Where can I make this? Let's do it this way. There. All right, my pack bait is real simple. I like it simple, and sometimes I will alter it. Let me get it close enough so you guys can see. In case anyone actually watches this on the replay, I'll try to get it square so you can see. Orvis too expensive for me. Spinning gear anyway. Orvis. So, got a bucket, I got my can opener, 3 ingredients. I used the panko breadcrumbs, 13 ounces, 3 ounces strawberry jello powder. Make sure it's not the sugar-free stuff. And a can of sweet corn with the liquid. I start with the corn. Here we go. I know Rod's going to complain about how wimp I am. My electric can opener. Getting ready to hear it. I know. Everyone's going to complain about the electric can opener. I was one of those Orvis guys when I was like a teenager. I was huge into fly fishing. But then I grew up and matured. Let's see if I went far enough. Yep. So start with the corn. It's got the liquids. So I always start with the corn. Now, this is where I sometimes add other ingredients. Sometimes I'll add vanilla, coriander seeds, maybe even bird seed, anise, anything like that. But it's too expensive, and I'm not doing it. So next, I add the Jell-O. I don't know if the order matters that much, but this is the way I've always done it. And I have tried it other ways, but I've done it enough to know this works, seems to work best for me. And of course, I forgot a spoon. Let me look, see if I got something down here and stick my hand in there. Perfect. I'll use Skeeter's ice fishing net. Ice fishing scoop. So that smells real good. And honestly, right here, guys, a little tip I'll give you real quick is sometimes I'll take a load of this corn with the Jell-O and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, and I'll use that on the side on like on that other setup. Instead of putting power bait on, maybe I'd throw a piece of corn on there, something like that. Now, if I was going to do that tomorrow, I got a size like 8 or 10. I'd probably go back to a size 6 hook. Panko. Now, if you know, like I said, I know this measurement. It works perfectly. That's why I do it this way. I don't need to mix. All three of them go in whole, and it comes out perfect. It took me a while to figure out the right sizes. So if you want to do this recipe, pay attention to the sizes. You know, the corn, they'll vary a little bit with each company to how much liquid's in it. But this is 15.25 ounces of corn. It's 3 ounces of Jell-O, and you can double that. It'll work better. It's just more money. And 13 ounces of panko breadcrumbs. Now, these breadcrumbs are really thick. So when you mix it, give it a good mix and then walk away for like a half an hour. Let it soak in, and then you're going to actually bring it up from the bottom, because all that liquids are going to go to the bottom, obviously, right? Let me see who else we got in. Hey, Tim, welcome in. Pickles. What's cracking, guys? Let me go see what kind of trash you guys are talking. There's a reason there's Bob in Discombobulated. I am Discombobulated. The Fishing Channel. I think that's Jeremy. Welcome, welcome. Just add some cheap Rice Krispie to give it more volume. Yep, it works good. I think I got all your comments. I got to be more careful. Like most people have to be careful of trolls, but I got to be more careful when my regulars are in here. They say stuff, and no one else knows that they're kidding. Good enough. Enjoy the angle. I actually really liking this scoop. I always do this, or I always try to do this the night before, guys. I let it set all night. I'll put it in a Ziploc bag usually, or carry it in the bucket. But this time I'll do a Ziploc, so I'm hoping I get 2 or 3 days out of this. As far as the setup I use, well, that's a lot to look at right there, isn't it? I need to tip this forward. I guess I just do this, right? Yeah. You all seen this before. But in case there's somebody in the background or on the rewatch, this is what I use here. Now, you're allowed 3 rods in Pennsylvania. If I'm carp fishing, this is always on one of them. In the spring, when they're chomping, it'll be on all 3 of them. Tomorrow, it'll be on 1 or 2. That's the method feeder. It's got the built-in weight. It's got the grids. That helps you put the pack bait on there. You got a little bit of a leader down to a hook. And you see how the corn doesn't go on the hook. It's off the back. That's called a hair rig. You can buy them on Amazon. They work awesome. I put the floating corn on. Again, I'll show you why I do that. We'll test out these. These are the cheap Amazon corn, so I'm kind of curious to see if they actually float. Yeah. Let me sit this rod down and then I'll take you guys over to it. Okay, so that would be your pack right there. I always take that thread and I actually pack it with the hook into the actual ground up pack bait. So that corn ideally would be floating right above your pack. When would you fish a floating jig? Say versus a jig with a bobber or even straight Carolina rig. When would you fish a I'm not sure what a floating, what do you mean by a floating jig, Pickles? Say versus a jig straight. If you're talking like a trout magnet, a light jig like that, I often float those under a bobber. And it really, the only reason I could think of to do that opposed to a regular hook is it keeps the worm looking more like a worm the way it's weighted. But there's other techniques that would even be better for that. But in a jam, in a pinch, which is usually how I fish, it works good for that. It also, I feel like a jig head has a better hookup ratio when you set the hook. That's another reason I like it. But if you're going for something like trout that are going to swallow it, then that'd be the opposite. You don't want the jig head. You want something that they're going to actually swallow right down. Let's see if I got that. Carp ain't biting. You got any Jeremy, that's half, the spots I fish, man, I'm like the only one that fishes for these carp, so I do feed them. No, we're not stocking this tank. Floating jig is a jig that floats off the bottom. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with that unless I'm just blanking. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't buy a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. I try to rig up my own stuff, just I have to. Most of the stuff I have, we've won, to be honest with you. We've won in tournaments. I've been using the same setup since I was 12. Hang on, I gotta get the legs down on this. This is such a pain in the butt. I wonder if the laptop would be better, but I can't sit in one place and show you all this stuff, All right, so is that what you wanted to see, Stuart? You watched me make pack bait for like the 500th time. Is that cool? Bouncing Betty. I mean, are you talking like a Ned rig, like where it hits the bottom but it floats up? I mean, I fish Ned rig. I'm a big Ned rig fan. But here's the thing. Ned rigs have to float. Make sure when you buy a Ned rig, you take the little piece and you throw it in a tank or a bucket of water and make sure it floats. A lot of companies mix salt into it. I don't know why. Salt makes it sink. So make sure you're not getting one of those. I have a feeling it's cheaper to make the material that doesn't sink. I mean, that sinks. I don't know. It's the thing I say. Okay, you sent something on. Oh, yeah. It does the same exact thing as that. It just stands it up. Yeah, it does the same thing. See, what you have to understand in fishing, it's just marketing, right? They're selling you an idea that you can usually just rig yourself. I'm not saying I'm not going to use it, but yeah. You just have to know the science of where the fish are. If they're feeding 6 inches off the bottom, what do you have to do to make that presentation be six inches off the bottom or wherever they are? It's really not that much harder than that. Other than that, it's just they're selling you something cool, easy, convenient. So if it's worth it and you got the money, go for it. Um, show you guys a sabiki. And you guys have any other questions for me, let me hear it. But I think I'll show you the sabiki, and we're going to keep it to about an hour. So that's the orangutan's breakfast sorted for the morning. My dad was a carp slayer back in the days. Back meat consists of corn flakes. Yeah, you know what? I actually just tried that recipe. Someone else gave me that recipe. And you know how it goes. I got skunked that day, so I never use it again. It's probably great and works fine or whatever, but I'm going to stick to what has been tried and true for us. So, but yeah, I'm sure it does work good. Yeah, it's exactly what I tried. Corn flakes and strawberry. And I did it. I only did it because I had corn flakes. If you buy the real corn flakes, they're gluten free. So I always have them in the house for my family that's gluten free, except me. So I was like, I literally didn't have the money to go out and buy breadcrumbs. And I was like alive, like maybe a week ago I did it. So I mixed it up and I got skunked. And then I came out, was it the last live I did there, we caught 2 in the snowstorm 2 days ago. And that was on this recipe. So, you know, probably be another 10 years before I give it a try again. Everybody's got, like that old, when carp were popular around here, there was like a weird time where they were, at least right in my vicinity, became like this challenge, how many you catch. Everybody had secret recipes, including Scott, Aqua's Angler. He has a boilie recipe that his dad only gave him when he was like on his deathbed because he refused to give it to him. It's a pretty funny story, actually. So then he's like sharing the recipe with me, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm allowed to hear this. This is going tomorrow. Let me put this out here. Carry this huge tripod out with us. All right, so we got 2 rods ready. I got my other one in the car already, so we're good there. I told myself not to get distracted because I actually have work to do in here tonight. I can't just sit here and shoot the you-know-what with everybody and not get my job done. Let me put you guys over here. But yeah, this is kind of the idea. I wanted to just have a laid-back way of doing the live while I get my gear together. And I don't know if it's going to kill my algorithms or not, because like I don't expect like 50 people to be in here. But I'd like to just be here. So if somebody stumbles on my channel, like we had, you know, a single mother with a 13-year-old boy who fishes and she knows nothing about fishing. She's asking me 100 questions. I'm like, that's kind of the why I want to be here, for those people that might wander by. And then everyone else hang out, ask questions, but not be like in the screen talking the entire time. That's kind of where I'm going to go with this. So that I'm going to change the thumbnail slightly, but that's going to be the thumbnail. So it's like the bat sign. When you see that thumbnail, you know what you're going to expect. It's going to be me boring, doing my stuff. If somebody's got a question, that's what I'm here for. Yeah, different water holes absolutely have different baits. As a guide in Alaska, I can tell you, everybody, you know, we had very well-to-do fishermen that fished all over the world, fished all over the state of Alaska, which is huge for salmon. And they'd always come out with their own ideas. I tell them what lures to bring. They tell me this, and that. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, if you don't bring this, and this, I'm going to sell it to you at a very high cost. And they would always end up buying them every time because it just worked. Why? I don't know. Depth of the water, current, who knows? But yeah, always go with local information over any other type. Always stick with the locals. Dave Garcher, what's going on, buddy? I don't think I'm going to be able to go Tuesday evening, Tim. I got to get a job. And the jobs I'm applying for, I'm trying to get part-time 4 to 8, something like that, because the top priority for their fishing channel, top priority is family. Second priority is keeping the 10 to 2 time slot running for the lives and building on that, because that's a great spot for people to come and ask questions. I like this live because I'm not occupied or preoccupied by fishing. I can sit here and actually answer a question. I can go show you something, you know, how I rig it. So I stated that in the beginning of this live. So thanks for reminding me to say it again. You're going to see this sign that you got questions, we got answers. You may see it 2, 3, even 4 times a week, different times. It's going to usually be late at night or in the evening. And that's what you're seeing. It's the time for me to come up. Anybody's got questions, especially fishing related, I'll be here to answer them. And hopefully somebody else in chat can answer them if I don't know the answer to them. Bad Santa. I would not apply. I'm just saying. Yeah, I've put in a couple applications this week all around that 4 to 8 range. It's hard to find a part-time job for the hours that you want. Like I sound so spoiled applying for these things, but it is what it is. I'm also, I made really good money where I worked. I'm not afraid to say I made really good money. I worked really hard, had lots of training, had lots of licenses, and made really good money. I'm applying for jobs a quarter of the salary, but I'm not going to use all my information. I've learned a ton working. I've got good work ethic, but I've got what I need to do that comes ahead of that. Family, breakfast, dinner, the show. But if somebody has the right hours, they're going to, it's going to be a good fit. And we're going to make a company real happy. That's a great question. How do you figure out the depth of the water you're fishing? So sometimes you can get maps of the lakes and rivers. Sometimes you can have the depth finder. A lot of the different tools, electronics have depth finding. Again, me being just a normal guy, unprepared, running and gunning with my kid, know the lure. Take the lure that you're casting, drop it in clear water next to you, and see how long it takes it to drop about a foot. So it's usually, like the lures I throw are usually a foot a second. So you cast it and you can kind of tell when it hits the bottom, and you can basically figure out the depth. That's caveman style of fishing. That's my style of fishing. They have all kinds of bobbers you can cast and it reads that type of depth. But that's what I do more times than not. Red Fever plays. I caught my first with the spinning reel facing the other way. I just realized this morning. I caught my first fish with the spinning reel facing the other way. I don't even know how you caught a fish, so good on you, brother. Honestly, one of the reasons I wanted to start this show, I don't even know if I have a reel that works this way. Let me look. I do. I kid you not, guys. And I'm not laughing at this guy because I kind of laughed at him because that's kind of the way I am. But we had a good laugh, and I showed him. He learned a lot that day because we got him catching fish. So he had the line through this little eyelet right there, which is what you use to hook the lure up. Like this is your eyes, right? And his line was going through here and then through all these. And I was trying to help him, like, I don't know what's going on. And then I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, man. I'm like, you got that thing going through there. So it's something that silly. But my point is, I grew up in an outdoors family. My dad taught me everything. His dad taught him. Everybody fished, everybody in the outdoors. Not everyone has that privilege, right? Especially with, COVID. You're not supposed to say COVID, but COVID opened up the outdoors to a whole nother group of people. Suddenly nobody was working. People were going out there. And you saw all kinds of backwards facing reels, right? So yeah, that was one of the reasons I started doing this type of live, Tuesday Night Tips actually, was literally because I ran into that kid. And, like a week later, I found another kid that was like fishing like a saltwater rig in this little pond. And I gave him, I went to Walmart, got an $18 ultralight setup that I knew would work. And I gave that to him. So it was like those two experiences really kind of were the motivational things to start this show. JJ, what's going on, brother? So yeah, we were just hanging out tonight, just trying to answer questions people have. So hopefully as we keep doing these, more and more people will come in and be like newbies, and I'll do a better job of publishing out on like Fishbrain and things like that. And we'll get people like Creed to come up and talk about bass fishing. We'll get some experts. We'll do StreamYard. Right now, I think I have to change, like every Monday I do StreamYard for my members. It's 4 hours, right? So that's 4, 8, 16, depending on the month. I think you get 20 free hours a month. So I'm right at my limit. So I really can't do StreamYard on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do StreamYard every other member-only Monday, which will allow me to do more StreamYards on these nights, so that I can bring up somebody comes in and asks a question about fly fishing in Scotland, for God's sake, and Stuart will get all excited. And I can bring him up on panel and we can let him have a blast explaining how fly fishing works in Scotland or something. You know what I mean? It'll be a forum to answer their questions. Yeah, it just made his night. When buying a rod and reel, what should you look for? So here's where I'm going to tell you to do. You guys know Mission Discover, Nolan? Literally, go to his channel and watch his last video. He breaks down, he compares bait casting, spinning, fly rods. He talks about the actions of the rod, the reels. So it all comes down to knowing the fish you're after. And if it's going to be 4-pound line, you need the rod that goes and reel that goes along with that to cast. So it's all connected. You need to know the actions that are recommended. Let me show you what I use. Seriously, this is the best book. I've had this book for many years. I've had this similar book since I was 12. I lost it, and then I just bought the same thing. It's like the 50th edition. It's the best book out there. It will show you everything you need to know. So yeah, definitely get this. You want to have something where you can flip the page too. But yeah, if you tell me what you're trying to catch, I can go backwards and rig it all up. But like, you can tell I use this thing. I've read this thing so many times. I fold it up, mark it up. It's written by experts, not YouTube experts, real experts. That's my last bash at YouTubers tonight, by the way. You know, Jeremy, I have the other one upstairs. Yeah, all my gear, a lot of it is kind of surf related for catfishing. So this is where, like, hey, Mike, this is where I get like real with people. You know, let me show you this thing. So I was down chasing stripers. Nolan's with me. Nolan, you know how he is, and he knows everything. He's super analytical. We were fishing with people that had $900 reels, right? I caught up the 50, let's call it 51 or 53, between 51 and 53 inch striped bass on this. You guys know this rod. This is the world famous. It's a $25 combo. I've caught 35-pound flathead catfish. I caught my PB, not on this exact rod because I lost that one in the river, but I caught my PB 50-pound flatty on this same combo, $25. So it comes down to knowing the reel, what the reel can hold weight-wise, what it can cast. The reel that came with the $25 combo could cast 17-pound line, but I figured out that it could cast 30-pound line just fine. So I rigged it with 30-pound line, and that's what we caught that striper on, 30-pound line on my $25 combo. And it was down to the knot. We locked it out, and I hauled that thing in with this rod. So there's a lot more to it than having to go out and buy a rod for every species you fish for. So really long rods, what are they really good for? Steering fish out of structure. So when I caught my 48, let's call it a 48, so I don't want to make anyone mad because it was bigger than a 48. My tape was 48 inches, but we caught a giant muskie. And I caught it on that really long rod up there that is made for steelhead fishing, like for like lifting, right? Because I knew it would hold the reel with, I had 25 pounds on it. I didn't think I was going to hook into a 48, but I knew the structure that was out there, that I would need to come up at a high level to pull that fish up out of structure immediately. So you have to understand what the rod does, or else you're just going to be like a victim to marketing. And it's just a big waste of money, in my opinion. I got on a tangent. Let me see what I mixed. Do you have an affiliate link? I'm not sure exactly what that means. Do I have an affiliate link? I'm not getting paid to sell that book in any way, if that's what you mean. I sometimes refer to it, and I use it I source it out in my descriptions. But honestly, at this point, this information is pretty much in my head. Um, and it's all been, you know, I will go to the book to give you like the actual exact wording of things, but I have this basically memorized in my head since I've been 12 years old, honestly. Like, let me look for you're going to find a whole bunch of them. It's the same company. What you want to look for is it's the Freshwater Angler, right? The Complete Guide to Freshwater Fishing. They're all basically the same. There are probably 50 different editions. Um, it's like a central U.S. I think like Minnesota is where it was like published. It had like all the in-fisherman guys back in the day that were the guys writing this. Let me see. I used to know how to read all this crap to give you the definitive place to go. But hopefully I gave you enough to find it. I know it's all over Amazon. Not sure what you're talking about, Stuart. That would have been fun. I'm replacing a random 90-degree metal piece from inside my reel with an Allen key, and I've been sanding it for hours. Better you than me, brother. I couldn't deal with it. The Shakespeare Tiger Rod affiliate. Dude, they need to sponsor me, man. They do need to sponsor me. I don't have any of this. They're not, if I get no sponsors, man. It's my own channel, my own deal. I wish they would give me something because I'm a huge believer in that rod. It's not perfect. The guy's like, oh, how far out? I'm like, as far as it would cast, 20 feet. You have to know what you're doing. If you're gonna be stupid, you got to be tough. Like, you got to know what you're working with. There's more than one way to get it done. Sorry, I got distracted by a bent rod. Yeah, muskies are like, they fight like cats. They dog pull you. So if you can't stop that initial run and they're going on their structure, it's already over. So that's, you have to know where you're fishing. And I honestly was fishing in a spot that I had swam many times. So I knew exactly what I was dealing with. Hey, Luke Baker, welcome, welcome. Yeah, Walmart has the Rocky. Not all Walmarts have it, but the Tiger Shakespeare rod is from Walmart. So, I mean, this is literally the reel it comes with. Yeah, max 17-pound line. I got 30 on it right now. It's like that scene in Jaws where he's trying to get away from the shark and he's like, slow down, you're going to blow the engine, and the smoke's flying out. That's my reel. That's Rocky 3, man. It catches everything. It's got my PB flathead. It's got my PB striped bass, and it keeps on hauling in the carp. And I've got a 300-pound Mad Cats or a $300 Mad Cats combo sitting here. And it's awesome too. I just have the high vis line, so I can't use that for carp. It's basically straight up flathead only. Where I got to respool, and that line was not cheap, so I'm not going to respool every trip. Justin, what's going on? How would you make out tonight? I tried to peek in. I popped in a couple times, but I was popping back and forth between you and Brad. But I was quiet because I was doing a lot of housework. I'm trying to suggest and keep things on. In case you didn't realize, I'm trying to suggest and keep things on track. Collaboration of curiosities. Welcome, welcome. Use 12 footers to try and get my bait out on the main channel. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to throw one of the 12 footers up there soon. Not tomorrow, not this week because I'm with the kids and I don't have time to like put thought into switching the reels around right now. But I am going to go back to that muskie rod and I'm going to rig that up with pack bait for that same purpose. Like where I'm fishing right now. Hold on, I'll go show you. Little local knowledge, burn a spot out. If I swear, if I see you guys in my hole, no, I'm just kidding. see if I can zoom in. I don't know if that's going to be. Still trying to learn this dang thing. Here's this way. There. You don't really need to see this anyway, but so this is a map of the contour lines. This is where I happen to fish a lot. If you look, this is 3 foot, 5 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot, 15, 15. This is the only 15 spot in the whole lake. You can't fish over there. You have to fish from here. So that's a long cast. That's why I'm going to 12, because I know they've been working their way around the 10. And yesterday was the first time we got them on the 12 and 15 lines. So they're going to their wintering grounds. So my point is, I'm going to be going to something where I can cast a lot further. So that's kind of how I think, and how I think a lot of people, again, I'm not saying, like you guys that have been around the block and know what you're doing, I'm not saying that I know better than that. I'm just saying for the normal person that doesn't have the money to spend, it's more important. Let me zoom out here. Oh, why do I look so, oh my God. Oh my God. Make it stop, please. All right, that's better. I'm just saying, you know, instead of spending all the money, know why, you know, a 12-foot rod's good. Know why 30-pound line is, you know, needed. And then from there, you can kind of back your way into having the right product. When do you change out your line, and do you have a video on how to do that? It's a great question. Depends, like line can get brittle in sunshine. So it kind of depends how you've taken care of it. To be honest with you, I don't ever think about replacing it because it gets replaced. We snagged to a point where it's just like we fish every day. It's going to get worn out like by breaking off and retying before it's going to wear out. That's a good answer. I should look that up. I don't really have a suggestion. I go by feel. I feel nicks and things like that. If I'm not confident with it and I'm going after something special, I'm respooling at least every year. But if it's trout, I'll let that thing go till it's got cobwebs coming off of it. Then I break off. I might miss a dream fish. But like I said, if I'm going to go after, all of a sudden I'm going to go up for salmon. I'm going to take a 4-hour drive, get a hotel room. You better believe I'm respooling. Just keep that. That's all you need to do. You know, if you don't know exactly when that line was put on, just respool. Has it been out in the sunlight? Respool it. Martine, welcome, welcome. Skunked rough. Good drag system is huge. That is something that I will not lie about and say that's, in my experience, that's where more expensive rods come in handy, the drag system. I've lost some good fish, and you know I'm cheap, but I usually know the tricks. I know how to bow with them. I know when to run towards them if you have to. And in my next video, you're going to see me like I'm a defensive end, like running through people to get this fish in, to get line back on the reel. So I know how to do it if you need to do it. But I'm not going to lie. A cheap rod, the drag system will let you down eventually. They either don't hold, you know, beyond the weight that you need them to hold at, or more, the bigger problem is they're not consistent. All of a sudden they'll grab and you break the line off. And you won't even know that happens sometimes. So it'll lead you to keep doing it over and over again. And that's going to happen on the biggest fish. Going with trout, you're going to go 4-pound, maybe even 6-pound if you're going after something big. But you catch a 5 or 6-pounder in current, you better have a good drag on, and that sucker's gone. Yeah, but if you do affiliate links, you're selling a lot of stuff out on your channel. You have to click on affiliate links. The algorithm dumps you. Yeah, I'll never do that on my channel. That's what I thought you were talking about. I missed Mike. Did you ask a question, Mike? MVP. I got a spinning combo and two bait casters, land 50 plus flatties and 6 in. I got a spinning combo and two. Exactly, exactly. And I'll tell you, that's what drew me to Mike's channel. Is I saw a dude that knows how to get it done old school, like and I'm sure he's got all the right gear too. But I guarantee you, like it's a skill that you can't teach necessarily. You can just tell he's learned the hard way. Use 12 footers. Oh yeah, I read that one. I got to get back. I wasn't fishing today, Justin. Missed Mike. I think Mike was up. I missed Mike though. Weekends are tough for me. Catch up. What's the best time of year to catch fish? Why can't I catch fish now? Look at Pickles throwing. He's giving me my whole thing. So I had somebody in another channel today said, they couldn't catch fish right now. And they were talking to Brad from Canada. And they were saying, well, Pennsylvania's just too cold to catch fish. I said, well, we caught 8 bass. He said, where are you from? I said, Pennsylvania. So, you're going to get skunked. No matter what I say, you see me, I'm live every day. We get skunked. It happens. But there's things you can do. Like today, I showed you guys earlier the 1/64th ounce jig with the swim bait on. Don't do the same thing. Move around, try different things. Are they, where are they holding? Are they moving based on the weather to the deeper water? Like I just showed you on the map. I know where the carp are going. It helps when you fish a spot a lot and you know where you caught them last winter. And you look at the contour lines, even though they've been hanging in 8 foot of water, all of a sudden we haven't seen or caught a carp anywhere on that lake except for the 8 foot line that's near the 15 foot line. So that tells me they're heading to the winter. They're not there yet, but they're heading to the winter grounds. So yeah, they might be in shallow, but they're in proximity to the wintering holes. So knowing what's a cold water fish, what's a warm water, that's all very important. If it's a warm water fish, they're going to start shutting down. The bite windows are going to close. They're going to find the deep holes, or around me, you got pollution tanks of water coming in from companies, and you find a freaking tilapia in there. So it's not always depth, it's warm water, period. In a lake, you might have creek flowing in. So right now, see, we made a mistake last week because in years previous, we know the trout go up in this creek that feeds this lake. But the reason they were up there, I think, was the water was already really cold. We had a cold fall, and the water coming in that creek was warmer than the lake. This year, that creek is actually colder than the lake because it's been so warm, and the creek is super shallow, and we've just got a cold snap. That water is a lot colder, and they're just not up there in numbers. So you kind of have to understand what they're doing, where they're going. So temperature is huge. Temperature is huge. I think temperature is probably the most important thing. If they're actually feeding, and it's kind of related, is food source. Best time of year to catch fish is the other part of that question. Anytime you can get out is the best time. For me, I'm a spring guy. Like I like to fish all time of year, but I feel like the best fishing for me is spring, mid to late spring, probably mid-spring. Most of the species are woken up and biting, except for flatheads and like snakeheads for us. But everything else is just slamming. They're hungry. They're feeding. As far as trophy fishing, those fish aren't big because they've just haven't eaten all winter much. So if you're going for monsters, maybe a lot of people are going to tell you the fall. But I'm always disappointed in fall. It's picking up now, even though we're almost in the winter. But I'm always disappointed in fall. Everybody swears by fall. And I think it's a trophy thing because fish are feeding up. They're tanks. They put on a lot of weight. So a lot of records are caught. Now it gets the headlines and then people get all excited and, But I could be totally wrong. Live in the background. All right, I'm right well, I'm not right behind you. You're going to bed. That doesn't sound good. But I'm getting off of here real quick, too. I only want to be up about an hour. How do I set my drag? What is it for? Good. Oh, Pickles. Killing me, dude. Killing me. So, somewhere on your fishing reel, you've got the control and the drag. So let me get this thing out. Look at this, by the way. Look at this old reel. This thing is a beast. I've got reels that lasted a year or two. I caught this on the bottom of the lake like 10 years ago, and it's still working. Okay. So drag is like, here's the fish, it pulls, right? The line goes out, it's spinning. I wish it was a screamer, it would be better. Now, let's crank that tight. If it's too tight and you catch a fish, if you say you have 4-pound line, the line will break off, right? Or break the rod even if you don't have it paired correctly. If you have it too loose, it just starts pulling line like it's not even there. Okay, so you need to find the right, and a lot of this is kind of like feel. You want to have the right resistance where it's not real easy, it's not real hard to pull. And sometimes you can do, it's like a two-man job, is you can have somebody hold the rod or prop it up and actually put the line all through the eyelets and then pull, because it depends on the rod too. How much rod does that give, and at what point do you want that drag to rip? And then you've got like carp. Sometimes carp, you want a light drag so it's ripping out, sends the bite alarm off. You crank it down and you crank it tight. So that's the main idea of the drag. This one's got it on the front. And no, I don't use this reel. This one's, if I see somebody in person who needs a rod, it's going to them. I won this one somewhere. This one's got it right here. But yeah, most of the rods I use have it right here on the front. Some have it on the back too. But you want to, wherever it is on your reel, play with it, because when you're fighting a fish, you can feel when it's too much. It's going to break. Like it's pulling, you get an idea that rod's going, you might have to loosen it up. Vice versa, you might have it set perfectly, but you see that fish and it's going under a rock and you know it's going to break you off or snag you up and it's game over. The only chance you have is tightening that drag. So be used to tightening it. That being said, try never to touch it on the fly. We're gonna set rules and break them constantly in fishing. Try never to touch it. Only if you have to, because it's so easy to over tighten it one thing and it breaks. I've broken more fish off and then I'm like, I probably should have just let it go. I probably could have gotten it. Sometimes by just working the rod up, you can get that fish in. You know, you'd think it's going to pull line equally, but there's something to be said. I'm not a physics guy, but I guarantee you there's something with the leverage that if you bring the rod up, it's going to move the fish towards you more than if you just hold the rod in one place and reel. So you kind of, you know, sometimes you do need to pump them a little bit. I contradict everything because now I'm thinking circle hooks and you never want to pump, but whatever. Hey, Ray, welcome in, buddy. Yeah, and then like Stuart said, all that goes out the window when you're on YouTube, because the only proper setting in YouTube is the one that screams. So if you lose the fish, it doesn't really matter. We need to see smoke coming off the reel and screaming. That's basically the only way to make it. I'm just kidding. When do I fish in deep water and shallow water? It depends on the species. For me, it's always easier to answer it from my point of view. For me, like speaking like bass right now, bass are going deeper around me. They're seeking the warm water. So all of a sudden, cold nights have set in. It's been really warm, but now it's cold nights. So where is it going to get cold first? On the top of the water. Eventually, the water on the top is going to get so cold, the thermocline, I think they call it, it's going to flip. Then everything shuts down for like 2 weeks before it kind of goes back to where it was, and they're down deep again. That's my take on it, but it depends on the fish. Perch, they could be up in the shallows. I've catch yellow perch all winter long on the edges. Trout, same thing. They don't. The cold doesn't bother them until it gets down to like, and that's where that book's nice, because you know exactly the temperature. You can go out there with your thermometer. But I usually go out and get skunked, and then I go back and hit the books. You know, to be honest with you, that's what happens. And I'll be like, oh, wow, I'll bet you that water was colder than, 32 or whatever. And some of it is just being observative, talking to other anglers. They might not give you their fishing spot, but they might give you that piece of information that you needed. Oh, was it, what were you, I don't like to talk about, was it shallow or deep? Just get something from them. They don't even know they gave you a piece of info. That's true. I've never once skunked, like Stuart said. I've run out of time, but I've never skunked. True story. What's going on, Steve Brill? What's going on? When you go to a new fishing spot, what do you do to prepare and figure out how to fish it? I try to research first. If I'm going to a new spot, I will use all the social apps, try to figure out what's there. A lot of times, if you just Google something, you can go underneath, they'll have like reviews. You can get a lot of information right there. If we're looking at lakes, I feel like I should show you a map, but it's going to be all bouncy again. I'm going to look at water coming in, water going out. Honestly, that's two of the things I'm looking for. Water coming in, water going out. Is it dam? There are spots of interest. Depending on the time of year, I'm looking for different types of structure. If you know depth, again, where you have deep water and shallow water close together, always a good spot, always a hit. What I'll do is I'll take a lake map, and this would be when I was doing like some tournament fishing. I would take the lake map and I would mark up spots. I would try to mark up like 10 spots and come up with patterns and basically just look for those type spots. Like if I had a feeling they were going to be deep, but they, in the afternoon they might go shallow. Well, I'm looking for all the shallow spots that are close to deep spots. Or if they're off of points, points are always good spots. Look at the land. A lot of the rivers and lakes and creeks. If you're looking at the land, underwater usually continues. So if you see a big steep, in the woods, it's big steep ridge. It's probably a big steep drop off right there. So that's a spot that, to hit. A lot of it is luck at first. But what's important is once you catch something, right? You catch something else. Now you caught two things. Is there a pattern there? If there is, did you catch them both in shallow? If you could start getting a pattern together, again, you go back to the map, you look at that pattern throughout the whole lake. Where else are there these lily pads close to deep water? Or where are the lily pads with current? That's what you hope to find. And now you can just zoom spot to spot instead of like trolling the whole stinking lake. When do you go to your fishing spot? When do you prepare? Figure out how to fish it. Hurting for sturgeon. What's going on? Yeah, local knowledge is king for me too. Local knowledge is king. I say it in my next video, which you guys haven't seen yet. I do go to Walmart. I go to Walmart. But don't go to Walmart. Always hit the local shops. Go in there. And I don't spend a lot of money out. But I call it an investment. Go in there and buy a couple things from them. If you're going to go do it all the time. I'll tell you the story right now. We vacation in Sea Isle, New Jersey every year. I go down there every year. It's mainly a family vacation, but Kevin fishes obviously the whole time. And we've figured out how to catch fish in a spot that's really not known or great for fishing. The reason we found all this information out is we go to this local tackle shop, Boulevard Bait and Tackle, and we see Cameron every year. Bought a shark rig, but I bought all kinds of stuff from him over the years. And it's at the point now where I call him up to go striper fishing, and he's like, go north. He's sending me 2 hours north, because he knows I'm a good customer. He knows I'm going to come back. Do you think Walmart's going to ever do that for you? No. So, use local knowledge, support mom and pop businesses, and you might get some good fishing spots. Stuart's answer is it depends. Obviously it depends, but we got to come up with an idea. You're killing me, Pickles. I know, I appreciate it, buddy. See what's going on, Bud Files. Somebody's going to come back and watch this live, and be like, man, that Pickles dude doesn't know anything. So yeah, I've been on for an hour and a half. I just want to be on for an hour. So I'm going to shut this down. I got a lot of other stuff to do in the household. I don't hear any crying children yet, so that's a good sign. Oh, Lord, here we go. What are the top mistakes every fishing person makes? Too big of hooks, too heavy of lines, too heavy of rods. Every creek I walk looks like saltwater gear out there. I guess you want to be like tough guys, go out there and catch a big fish. You ain't going to catch nothing. Go figure out the right hook size, the right line, go low. Get what you need, not something a lot more than you need. That's obviously, I love that question. You can talk to all the local guys here. You ask Travis, right off the bat, he knows I'm going to answer that way because we laugh our butts off. All right, guys, let me shut this thing down. Pickles, thank you for keeping it rolling here. I wouldn't really have that much to say without you, so I appreciate that. Appreciate all my members. You guys are amazing. Member only live tomorrow. I'm hunting the morning with Lyle, so I'll probably start the live from in the house, and I might do the giveaway right at 10 a.m. before I head to the lake. So tomorrow might be an abbreviated fishing spot from us, but I know Brad's planning on catching Pikasaurus tomorrow, so Brad's going to be on panel. So it's going to be a great live tomorrow, even if I don't fish the whole 4 hours. It'll be a good live. Kevin will be with us too, and who knows? Maybe we'll might be butchering a deer if Lyle gets one in the morning. Who knows what the live's going to be? We never know. But I'm going to get out of here. I've been an interviewer because I'm ever curious. Best way to be, bro. Best way to be. I tell you all kinds of guiding stories. People that came and knew everything. It was always the person that was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was like some brain surgeon. He's like, I like to fish, but I have no idea what I'm doing. That's the dude that has the fish on his wall right now. All right, let's hear it, Brad. Let's go. Let's go. I'm getting nervous when there's another fishing guide in here asking me questions. Here you go, Brad. All your questions can be answered right here. Thanks, Stu. Appreciate you guys. Let me give Brad a second. I know he's got probably a couple Molsons under his belt at this time, so let me get his thoughts together and fire off a real question here. Anyone know what this is? I think this is what we're going to use anytime we get a super chat in our lives from now on. You guys let me know if you know what this is. Should be on every boat. I think Brad fell asleep, or maybe my chat froze. I don't think you do, Stuart. Oh, you do? Okay, I thought you were going to say it's a pee bottle. All right, yeah. It's not a real dartboard. We can do better, Brad. Look at that. We can shoot some pool. That's a Shigo or whatever they call it now. I don't know if you've ever seen my basement, Brad. This is it. Right outside, got the bird feeder. This is where all the deer hang out, right there. Very sporty. Fire away, Pickles. Fires away, fire away. I do not do burpees in my basement. That's for boating. That's my boat horn. I never was much into moose hunting, to be honest with you. But that's only because the only other guy on our river, he gave me all the moose meat I could handle, and I give him salmon. So I was a salmon guide. So I didn't have time to do anything but salmon. Someday I'll take you into that office and I'll show you pictures all night long of us guiding and all the pictures. Probably get kicked off of Facebook or YouTube for all of them. Why are the line dumps shaped the same way? They're a pain in the neck to use. The line dumps. Why are all the line dumps shaped the same way? I'm not sure what line dumps are. Are you talking like the eyelets? Are you talking about like spinning versus bait caster? Gunner Gary, what is the biggest fish you catch? I love that question. Biggest fish, I guess, weight-wise, I caught a 75-pound king salmon. I just caught a 53-inch striper like a week ago. That video is coming out. I caught a 50-inch muskie. I don't know. They're the only ones I can think of. I caught a 50-pound flathead. I'm a multi-species guy, so I'm not usually thinking size. But yeah, there's some good ones, I guess. There's always line coming out and you're not supposed to shove your arm in there. Wait, what? There's always line coming out and you're not supposed to shove your arm in there. It's time for me to go to bed. I'm not following. Oh, there's River Rat. I have a question, Renaissance Man. Do you ever sleep? I'm trying to. I'm going to go up. Yeah, I sleep. I sleep very. Have you? Well, other than catfishing when I'm trying to be like earnest, have you ever seen me live after 8:30 at night? I'm like 9 o'clock, 9:30. Boom, dead to the world. Dead to the world. I might have one of you guys playing, but I'm asleep by then. 9:30 and I wake up at 4, like clockwork. Trout, I've got some nice trout. Yeah, we're multi-species, Gunner. So if you want to see multi-species fishing, you came to the right place. We're doing trout fishing tomorrow. Well, tomorrow will be members only, but we fish every day, 10 to 2. I'll be live for the public starting again on Tuesday. But we fish every day, 10 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. Got tons of videos out there, playlists. So yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania, Southeast Pennsylvania, or East Pennsylvania, not really Southeast Pennsylvania. Line garbage can. Oh yeah, they're a pain in the butt. You're talking like the PVC things you're supposed to put line in. They're a pain in the butt. But I guess they're cheap. They're just PVC. I had a buddy who did a Boy Scout project with those things, and everyone steals the bottoms out of it. It's annoying. Line sits on the spool. I don't know if I answered it. Not for a trash line where they all look like that. No, for the trash line here, they all, yeah, the PVC tubes. Yep. Awesome. That's awesome, Gunner. I'm in Schwenksville area, buddy. What part of PA are you in? Oh, God. Vegetable oil. What are you talking about, Brad? You haven't said anything since you have a question. Oh, here it is. Vegetable oil. Are you in the right chat, Brad? How many Molsons did you have? What do you think? What type of bait is best? Like fish or worms or crabs? Depends on what you're going for, Red Fever. If you had one bait to pick, I would say a worm, man, because you can use worms in saltwater pretty effectively. There's some big saltwater like YouTube dudes. I'm trying to think of that. The Asian dude that like slays it for years. He's all over Instagram now too. Man, him and I used to actually chat a lot too. I don't know why, we just got it off and would talk all the time. But he always swore by like night crawlers and but yeah, a worm will catch almost anything. But sometimes you don't want that because you don't want to catch a sunfish. You want to catch a trout. So using a bait like a worm, all you're going to do is lose $8 on worms to sunfish. So then I'd switch to something sunfish don't like but trout like power bait or something like that. If you're harvesting, I will say it every time I say power bait. Power bait is to be used only if you're going to eat that fish. Don't use power bait if you're going to catch and release because they're going to swallow it. That's it. I am Schwenksville. Yeah, Schwenksville, Gunner. Let's see. Used to run a chainsaw with vegetable oil for cutting up moose. Also quality charges. I hear you, man. If I had one in my fridge, it's about that time. But I don't keep them in the house. I'm going to bed. I want to see where Gunner's from if he says. I have like 50 different bags of bait. Oh, fish bait shape. Yeah, like tomorrow I'm using pack bait for the carp, but trout will also, it'll definitely bring the trout in. I don't know if I'll hook it up on the hair rig, but I'll throw the power bait in the vicinity. And I'm also throwing regular corn because now that the sunfish aren't real active, realistically, I'm only going to catch a carp or a trout on that setup. And that's what I want to catch. Oh, you're in Somerset. All right. That's awesome. I used to ride, I used to race bicycles for a living, but I used to race from Philly to Pittsburgh every year, and it went right through Somerset. And I remember every one of those dang hills, but one of the most beautiful places. I actually have a doe tag out there, so I do need to get out there. So I've got 3 in the freezer, and I might, if I get one more, I'm down to my Somerset tag. Sore subject, Brad. Let's not talk about how Justin did. He had a great day of fishing. What's a good racing story that you can think of that you can talk about? All right. Since we're on the topic of racing to Pittsburgh, so we're racing out. I think it's in Bedford, where there's an abandoned tunnel from the turnpike that goes through a mountain, and we have to go up and over this mountain. And we were halfway up the mountain, and we got a huge lightning storm, and it was like the type of lightning you could see the strikes hitting the top. It takes a lot for me to be like, yo, we better chill. But there's not much going on out in Somerset. Let me tell you, not much going on. We ended up seeing the only like shack around. So we go in there. So it's like a barn, right? We don't think anybody's in there. We think it's just abandoned, basically. It looked very abandoned. So we're in there. It's pouring. We're in there for the night. Somebody's got a flask. We're in there for the night, guaranteed. We look around, all of a sudden we realize like the whole floor is covered with bat droppings, like 3-4 inches of bat dropping. Somebody's got to use the bathroom. They go in the other room, and all we hear is, roar! So there's also cows in this building. No walls between us and the cows. But after a few sips, we all got a good night of sleep. And we woke up and the sun was blazing. Everything was like there. And we were like looking around, see if the farmer was coming. We're like, oh my God. So we left a $20 bill right by the door, because we even used the bathroom in there. You know what I mean? So we just got up and took off. There's stories I could tell for a year, but that's the one I'm thinking of right now. Dun, dun. Hey, cheers, Paul. Welcome, welcome. I got to get I got to get Ryan's sweatshirt out of here soon. I am going to be up your way. I don't know if you're further north, but I'm going to be up in Jim Thorpe on Wednesday fishing for pickerel. 2NY, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody's coming in as I'm trying to get out. I guess that's the problem with not scheduling it, just kind of popping up. Wasn't running fast enough, Brad. So yeah, thank y'all for coming in. I'm going to close it up. I got some stuff to do before bed. When you see that little thumbnail, I don't even know if you see thumbnails, how it works out there, I forget. But I'm going to use that same thumbnail every time I'm going to do one of these lives. They're going to be from the basement. They're basically going to be set up for like beginners that have questions on fishing, or maybe somebody that doesn't know another style of fishing, all kind of questions and answers type thing. But yeah, Gunnar, thanks for coming in. Please subscribe if you haven't. Can't wait to hang out with you more. If you're in Somerset, definitely want to stay tuned, because we do have videos out your way too. Yeah, Justin, have a good night, buddy. Get out of here, skunk. Skunk, go. Skunk, I think, is related to a member, and that member should know there was no skunk today. Not even close. 12 bass in the boat today. Bam. Jose, what's going on? I'm out. Good night.